All right, hello. Welcome everyone, welcome everybody to the second Silver Bullet Road to 1 million stream. Today we are starting with the London Open session, and I'll be looking for the Silver Bullet in the next hour or so. But first things first, the rule number one of being able to find a silver bullet, or at least make an attempt, a reasonable attempt on finding one, is the defining the draw on liquidity, the next draw on liquidity. And that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out at the start here, what it may likely be doing. So right away, what I have in mind is the fact that I'm expecting potential near-term strength on the dollar index to run towards the buy side liquidity here. That's what I'm kind of thinking near term, which ideally I would like to see some measure of price swing lower on the indices, taking into consideration where we are in terms of the range in here, this being the range high and this being the range low. Clearly we can see that price is in a premium, in pretty deep premium, I gotta say. So taking new longs in deep premium like this with potential strong dollar doesn't really seem very good. Not saying that it can't go higher. We have nice relative equal highs up there, but yet from this area right now, I think I would rather want to find a draw on liquidity that's lower, that's below the market price. And that's kind of what I'm looking for right now. What could that be? What could that be? And we have several candidates for sure. The first one being those relative equal lows right there on the 5-minute chart. I will squeeze the chart a little bit and show it on here. So this pool of liquidity of relative equal lows is kind of my initial go-to potential draw on liquidity on the downside. And I think that's what I will be going with for this session. So yeah, next thing that I'll be looking for is the price structure that could maybe allow for an entry that's reasonable and a potential expansion towards those relative equal lows in here. At least that's my initial thinking as I'm going into this session. We'll see whether that's if that holds any validity at all. But nonetheless, I feel like buying in here is less probable at this moment to work out versus maybe seeking some measure of retracement. Or yeah, at least that's what I'm thinking. If it goes higher, then that's fine. I might re-evaluate my thinking, but so far I want to stick with the idea that it might want to seek those lows. Keep in mind that we have the PPI numbers later today, so the market could be a little bit fuzzy during the London session, and that's also what I'm kind of keeping in mind, right? So I guess we are good to go. 5 minutes left, so I was able to establish my bias, my idea, basically in 5 minutes or something like that, which is all right, I guess. I wasn't really looking at the charts before that, so this is kind of like my fresh perspective on it in here, and that's what I will be using for the silver bullet this London Open session. Whether it will allow me anything, that's a different story, but yeah. So far, price hanging around the new week opening up, kind of consolidating in here. So what I want to see a move, sharp move away from it, to the downside. That would be something constructive here. So these are the relatively cool lows right there. We have lots of sell side underneath this trend line liquidity too. And so far, as the London Open started at 2 a.m., we made some measure of a high that's pretty sharp, then rejected that, consolidated around the 50% of the new week opening up. Price failed, eventually traded to the low, and now I'm watching whether we will see any premium sensitivity in the lower half that could send us lower. And yeah, some minor relatively cool lows in here, I guess, worth mentioning. So that could have been like a low-hanging fruit objective on this idea, if it even pans out, right? So yeah, that's kind of where I'm looking as a potential draw for this next hour of trading. And now let's see. How price does. So yeah, because yesterday I took a loss. Today I'll be reducing my risk and risking 250 max per trade. So that's also important for it. And let's see. Yeah, I mean, on 5 minutes we have this inefficiency right there. It kind of overlaps with the consecutive encroachment of the new week opening up, but nonetheless, that's a potential bearish inversion for value gap, or at least that's what I'm looking for to see off of that array in here. If it can present that for me, then obviously I'll be more confident that it will actually seek the sell side here. So let's see. I don't want to be too aggressive about it because we are still at all-time high scenario. We can still roll over higher overall, and I don't really want to force a short by any means. But taking the analysis that I already did this morning, I think that a potential run lower to those radical lows makes complete sense. So we'll see how it will go. So from time to time, I will be jumping from the 5 minute to 1 minute to kind of keep in touch with this imbalance there and how it does. And we just started the session here. For completeness sake, let me see the ES. Right away, I like the sell side here for ES, and I like the sell side here for ES too. So it kind of matches, kind of makes sense. Also, I'm not even sure if ES doesn't present a cleaner structure at current time for it to potentially unfold. But yeah, the fact that it's matching the draw with Nasdaq is something that I like to see and I want to see. Welcome, Money Glitch. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. How are you doing, buddy? Did you slept well? By the way, what time it is in India right now? I'm curious. All right. Good morning, Sonia. Hello, hello. Do you think rather trading London session 3 to 4 would be good? I'm not sure. What do you mean? Can you explain? You mean PM session instead of London session, the last hour of trading? If that's what you are asking, yeah, I mean the last hour is still very good. You can use it as a silver bullet for sure. I'm not using it personally for the series because it doesn't fit my personal schedule that well, and the London session is yeah I get what you're saying. Yeah, that's completely fine too, but as I say, that's not fitting my personal schedule that well, so I had to choose what fits me personally here. But the time windows that you outlined are also completely good, reasonable, fine. You can use them if you want. The last hour many times would be like like you can probably find anything you want in there if you are like very proficient second chart user, because yeah, second charts offer a lot of opportunities during the last hour. But yeah, nonetheless, London is fine too. Sometimes it can be slow, sometimes it can be choppy, but that's like a part of the daily range in here. And yeah, I'm not forcing my thinking into the London session here, yet it's meant to give me like a proper insight about what I can expect going into later sessions. The AM session is probably the go-to, the main focus, to find something there. But obviously, if I can squeeze something in London or something like that, that would be always appreciated. Today, London Open session makes sense in my eyes as I outlined here, and that's the only framework that I'm gonna stick with. And if it offers me like very clean displacement, clean price going forward, then yeah, I don't see an issue with engaging that for a couple handles. Not necessarily even the full target, but the minor sell set here would be interesting. But so far I don't have an affinity for it. So far I like the draw. I think it could go there, but I'm not convinced that it's time for it to be engaging this. At this moment it kind of feels a little bit iffy. That's why I'm kind of like just watching, just waiting, taking my time, observing price, and that's it. That's like, I guess, the majority of time what I'll be doing during this whole series, is watching the price, trying to decipher whether the draw is correct and whether the timing is also matching. And yeah, we'll see what we get. Let me check the S&P quickly. Yeah, S&P is also very deep inside of the premium of this range, larger range, and yet it has those very nice relatively close. These are even better or nicer versus those on Nasdaq, to be honest, because this low is slightly higher than this one. This is just too perfect, too smooth right there. Yeah, so something that cuts my attention is this suspension block right there on the ES. This suspension block, potential around to here, around 6 handles, which would allow me for a stop loss above this suspension block easily. Measuring the midpoint between those two. That would be the event horizon here. And that's kind of like the reasonable draw, like the easy picking, I guess, for ES in here. So we'll see. That's something to watch. The range is rather small, not gonna lie, on ES right now, but that structure, that price action makes kind of sense to me. But with that said, if ES is going to drop there, Nasdaq should follow as well, and it has a lot of more range to offer potentially. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. But again, no rush. If it's not speaking to me very clearly in terms of like what could I use to get me on board, that makes very good sense, then I'm not in a rush to press it. Yeah, I'm watching this short-term low here. It should be taken out without any issues right there. Event horizon is 50%. It's a midpoint between two PD arrays. It's basically 50% between two PD arrays. Yeah, yes, it's storming towards those lows here. That's kinda too obvious. So yeah, apparently maybe I was a little bit too slow about it. But if I were slightly more on point, I could have been looking for something there on ES to take me below the sell side towards the event horizon here. But yeah, it is what it is, I guess. No biggie. Okay, Nasdaq did poke this below this low here. Traded outside of the new week opening up here, also on the closing basis. So now definitely the lower half should be presenting some measure of resistance here. And what I would like to see is a potential trade up into the new week opening up, maybe to this inversion for value gap on the 5-minute, and then displace away. That would be the strong validation of my idea that I can potentially look and attack the sell side during this time. What I don't want to see is consolidation just around the new week opening up here. So if we are going to go above the 50% of that towards the high, that kind of shrinks the probabilities, I believe, that this session will run nicely lower. So ES traded exactly to this low here, didn't necessarily took it out, also having the sell side liquidity very clean right there, now reaching up higher. So any retracement like this in here kind of makes me think that it might set up a run lower towards the event horizon. So I'm kind of thinking about this order block right there and trying to quickly calculate what it could allow me to do. Let's see how I could potentially make this work if I could. Okay, something like this, ahead of the event horizon, with stop loss up there, 2025. Okay, I mean, let's see. Did my take profit didn't go through? I think it didn't. So I gotta do it like this. So ideal scenario for me in here is to aim ahead of the event horizon between those two relative equal lows on the downside, trusting the fact that it's going to seek lower and keep the pressure, the potential pressure to the downside. Not gonna lie, I like the idea. I think it's reasonable. So if it goes, it goes. If it fails, it fails. But the draw seems to be solid nonetheless. And we'll see how it goes. 1 to 2 risk to reward. At this point, at this moment, I'm obviously out of the control anymore. So whatever happens, happens. Good morning, Neko Basu-san. Hello. Yeah, everything is going well. So thanks for asking. Which platform are you using for execution? So this is TradingView, and I'm using the Trade-O-Eight. I'm basically using the Trade-O-Eight broker through the TradingView platform. PPI days are, from my experience, very similar to the CPI days. So I treat them almost equally. So you want to be careful trading ahead of those, and holding like positions ahead of those events. But after those, it should be fine. After the numbers hits, it should be all right. So yeah. Nice. Yes, on the table today. And we'll see what we got. All right, so very important for me and for this trade in here, I guess, is the fact that if we can run the relative equal lows, because we have a lot of those in here, We have those right there, and we have those old one here. So, and they are very close in proximity. So large pool of sell-side liquidity will be resting around those levels. So it's very important that after the price will, or if the price will eventually tap into the sell side here, it really needs to displace further behind it. Otherwise, that might be problematic. But yeah, until that happens, I don't have to worry about it. Nonetheless, this in my opinion is the low-hanging fruit objective, aiming for ahead of the event horizon between those relative equal lows and those relative equal lows as the potential high probability draw on equity with this idea. I have eventually chosen the ES over the Nasdaq as it kinda has a cleaner structure, a cleaner price action in here, in my opinion, cleaner pools of liquidity on the sell side. The sell side here is way too clean, and this one is also very clean. Versus Nasdaq is a little bit extended, a little bit wider, but nonetheless, we'll see how it goes. This is silver bullet number 2 for the series. Well. It's kind of early into the hour still, so I'm expecting that it might take some time still. So far, everything is still in play, reasonably. Nothing changed to the idea that I entered on. Therefore, I'm just kind of waiting. Preferably seeing some measure of displacement lower, obviously, towards the relative equal lows. That makes the most sense in here, in my opinion, but yeah, we'll see. Unless the position stays like it is in here, I either get the full win or I take the full loss on this. So yeah. So yeah, I'm also aiming for around like 8 handles. So that's not like a lot of range, a lot of movement required to get there. Potentially, obviously. So yeah. It made sense for me here, and that's it, right? Now the market will show whether it's correct or incorrect. Regardless, whatever happens, that's fine. I feel like I followed the idea. And yeah, we'll see. Because there might be like 2 instances here that can technically like occur. And what do I mean by that? I might be incorrect about the draw on liquidity, right? I might be incorrect about the fact that the price should drop down there. And if that's the case, then I was just wrong. And whatever I would use for entry in here, that was just wrong by the definition of the draw on liquidity. If I define the draw incorrectly, then everything else kind of falls apart and doesn't really matter that much. And then the only thing at that point is to improve my draw on liquidity, right? That's the only thing that I could have done better if this is completely wrong. But let's say the price goes there, goes to the draw that I outlined, but for whatever reason it stops me out first and then goes there. Then I have something to improve in terms of like the entry, because the draw was correct then, but I got stopped out to the entry. That happened to me yesterday. I was actually correct about the draw. I was correct about the potential price moving lower, but what I was incorrect about was the timing, the exact entry that I took, or maybe the stop loss that was linked to that entry. But nonetheless, the entry itself was just wrong, while the draw was correct. So that's kind of like the distinction. If the draw is incorrect, then I was just wrong, and I'm glad to take the stop. But if the draw is actually correct and I get stopped out, that's obviously kind of itchy, but that's where the room for improvement kind of occurs, right? So these are kind of like the two categories that I will be also judging or reviewing my trades, whether the actual draw was correct or incorrect. If it was correct, then that's like 50% of the success, and that means that I was either a victim of some measure of manipulation, or my entry was just poor. These are basically two outcomes there. And yeah, I can always improve that, right? But if I define the draw incorrectly from the start, then there is nothing really much I can do about it. If I choose a level to reach for and the price wasn't just really going there anyway, so then those instances I was just wrong, basically, no matter what. And yeah, no, I don't use bookmap. I never used it, but I suspect it should be showing some bubbles below those lows here, growing larger. So we'll see how it goes. We are going into the 3:30 a.m. and 3:30 a.m. is pretty important for the London Open Silver Bullet, and that's kind of where I would like to see, when I would like to see price start moving away more aggressively lower. That would be like the first benchmark for me to measure whether this idea is still reasonable. So far we are just consolidating, forming some measure of a bull flag, and just taking the near-term buy sell liquidity, digging deeper into the order block. That's all fine, that's all permissible, and we would like to see it start losing ground a little bit. There is a fair value gap here in form of a BC, and this one specifically I would like to see it traded through on a closing basis very quickly and act as inversion if it can do so. So that's something that I'll be watching too. This technically wouldn't be a BSC that I would ever want to be buying, because it's kind of like the time where price might want to start speeding up. If I'm correct, then it will do it to the downside. If I'm incorrect, then it will do it to the upside, obviously, and it will prove me wrong. But nonetheless, so far we're holding on to it, and so far it looks still reasonable. It looks still fine. It looks still that it could work. Mr. Ninatmer, price will go to all-time highs today. It might. I'm not saying it can't. I think that's pretty reasonable nonetheless. But even if that's the case, attacking sell liquidity like this and this is quite reasonable, and in my opinion it would be even better for price to run the sell side here first before running higher, right? That would make more sense in my opinion, but obviously I might be wrong. So yeah, I will own it nonetheless. Okay, so 330 kind of speeding us up a touch to the suspension block here, to the low of it, permissible, but it should not go in the upper half of that. If it does, then the probabilities of this idea working out shrink by a lot. But with this, what we are seeing so far, that's still, I guess, reasonable, in realm of reasonable, that it could work. But yeah, admittedly, the fact that it's like not doing too much, kind of staying in this low range and actually pushing a little bit higher, doesn't feel very comfortable at the moment. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Everything is already set. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. I will see it later, right? I'm just honestly curious where this series will be in like a month or 2 or 3. Actually, like 3 months is like a good, very good measure point, I would say. So 3 months from now, I just wonder where it will be. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see. By the way, some of you may wonder what will happen if, for example, I will blow the evil here on this phase 1. And if that's the case, no worries. I will just take another one and repeat the process again. Maybe do some improvements along the way, but nonetheless, I'm sticking to the model. I want to stick to the model, and I want to stick to this type of engagement of the model every day, seeking a silver bullet opportunity and looking only for one, whether win or loss, taking it humbly. That's all I can do. And yeah, and I guess like in 2-3 months we'll see whether it works by any means, or whether whether I'm failing miserably with it. Both are still open, but yeah. Yeah, Nekobasu-san, that's a good one. That's a good one. I like the thinking there. I like the thinking. The mindset is solid. Uh, where you are. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean that's kind of like the thing, right? It doesn't really matter whether this is like this first eval that we are taking on the series, or whether this would be like 20 copied accounts here, right? That would be the same kind of like model, the same setup, and the same loss or win, right? Just maybe a different outcome in the numbers, but technically it should be always the same. So being able to endure it right now, I mean it won't be easier to endure it with 20 copied accounts by any means. So this is all hardening the steel in here and forging the discipline, the patience, and the ability to take losses too, right? And stopping. So yeah, so far it's digging deeper into that suspension block. As long as we are in the lower half of it, I still think it could deliver. But exploration to the upper half makes me really, really on the edge, and I'm probably getting stopped out then, which is fine, I guess. I will just take it then, and that's all what I can do. And yeah, then I will make a quick recap, what I was thinking, why I was thinking so, and where I may made a mistake that I can maybe avoid in the future. And we'll see. We'll see. Nonetheless, it will be fun. That's for sure. Right, so price wicked above the consecutive encroachment. The bodies are staying below it so far. So that's last chance basically for it to repel price lower and start sending it to the downside. If it can though. All right, it would need to really quickly reject that Really no time to waste. The Nasdaq did went to the new week opening up high almost. It's still kind of sloppy. It's not, doesn't really like show too much, but yet it's not necessarily set to go lower. I like how the dollar index is pushing higher here towards the buy side. That could or should put some pressure on the indices. And the dollar index pushing higher with the ES perfectly stopping and respecting with the bodies the consecutive encroachment of the suspension block on 2 minutes makes me think that it could maybe still show the signatures here to displace lower. But yeah, obviously this shouldn't be happening if that's the case. So yeah, at this point I'm kind of like getting content or comfortable with taking a loss today. And yeah, very interesting state to be in, and to do that in front of people watching. But nonetheless, all right, that's what it takes, I guess. That's what it takes. All right, looks like I'm on the edge in here. There we go. Your analysis was perfect. Yeah, I don't know about that. No, just kidding. I mean, it was reasonable. It was reasonable, and now as it took me out, I like that. I like that quote by Bruce Lee. That's a nice one, though. Thanks for putting it out there, Nekobasu-san. That's appreciated. But let's now take the pride aside, and let's recap, reanalyze what I did incorrect, what I could have done better, what could have made me second guess the idea. And admittedly, the fact that both ES and Nasdaq were in their deep premium ranges respectively, the fact that I was expecting the dollar index reaching higher towards the buy side, which could or should apply some weakness or heaviness into the index futures by default, with the fact that both ES and Nasdaq, but ES had just way cleaner ones, relatively close like this and this, I decided to target those and aim for a potential run on the sales liquidity. Price went kind of close to it. The fact that they left it like this here and here, that is kind of like engineering sales liquidity. So this right away makes me think that the PPI might be attacking the sell side here, or at least I wouldn't necessarily just forget about those lows here on ES. This is way too clean as a draw. This will be a factor this week, I believe, for sure. And yeah, the fact that we have the PPI later today is a factor that could be considered why this London Open session wasn't ideal for trading. And yeah, because we have the PPI later, they might be or might have been leaving those relatively lows for that time, for that high impact news event, rather than just using it during the no news London Open session, right? So that's kind of makes sense for me in here. That could have been a factor. And yeah, so this is kind of what I have in mind right now. Both Nasdaq and ES made a higher high in here and pushed stronger to the upside. Let me see the MNQ. Yeah. So the MNQ didn't really show anything in here that I liked to go for going short, right? So if I stick to MNQ purely, I probably wouldn't take anything because it didn't offer anything in here that I liked. The ES did, which kinda caught me off guard there, but nonetheless, let me update the counter here. Two loss, 0 wins. Never sell this market. Every rally down needs to go up. I'm cooked. Yeah, money glitch. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to say, right? No, just kidding, just kidding. In my mind, I saw an opportunity there. Not gonna lie, it made sense. I executed. I own it. I took it. If it would work out, I would be like fine too, right? But it didn't. So as long as I'm following the rules, as long as I'm not gonna take another trade in here. By the way, this is the account, the balance right now, shrinking so far. But yeah, one winning trade would put us way back again. So nothing that I'm worrying about, to be honest. But yeah, the thing that I'm worrying about is proper execution, proper draw, proper entry. Today looks like my draw was completely wrong so far because prices keep on going higher. Which, yeah, I gotta take it like this. All right. Alrighty. Okay, folks. I think for the continuation of this idea in here, I personally will still watch this level of sell side here with the event horizon and the sell side here. Those three levels on the downside, I will watch those. Whether they will be hit later today, later this London session, later today think PPI, and I'll be taking my notes there. What will happen? And yeah, Excelsior, guys, I guess. This is it for today. I'm not gonna be streaming anymore because I already took the trade, so I'm not allowed to do it anymore. No reason to waste energy on not doing so. And yeah, thanks for watching. It was a pleasure as always. Tomorrow I will start with the London Open again, and we'll see how it goes about there. So far, 0 wins, 2 losses, and account is like slightly higher than 600 down. Yeah, that's it. So tomorrow, next stream, I will schedule it and see you guys. Have a nice one. Well. That was